So here we are. We're all convening virtually rather than in person due to a pandemic that hopefully we'll never see in our lifetimes again. But COVID-19 has stretched healthcare systems to their breaking point globally, and economies are due to suffer their worst impact since the Great Depression. But it's also brought to bear huge issues with society that existed pre-pandemic. So people of Black, Asian or ethnic minority backgrounds are more at risk of COVID-19 related deaths. Access to educational support during lockdown has varied greatly, and it has exacerbated the epidemic of loneliness. And that's just the UK. Like in other countries, following simple instructions to wash your hands regularly is not so simple if you do not have easy access to running water. But there is opportunity that has arisen from this situation. With the reduction of industrial output and human activity, the Earth's had a chance to breathe. And people are talking about the bounce forward and calling for governments to build back better to create a socially just and green recovery. And the choices made now will help us shape our society, economy, and humanity for years to come. And this is why we're here today. We want to bring together business leaders and other actors with brilliant minds and a sense of purpose in their hearts to harness that purpose together and use it to contribute to society and the planet. And we actually started developing Mission Beyond prior to the pandemic last year, but the pandemic has certainly heightened its significance. So I hope at the end of today, you're inspired and want to get involved. So an introduction to Mission Beyond. Mission Beyond is influenced by economist Dr. Mariana Mazzucato and her mission-based approach. Now, the mission-based approach is all about innovation and experimentation to tackle the world's grand challenges. And Mariana describes a grand challenge as a difficult but important systemic and society-wide problem with no silver bullet solution. And a great example of a grand challenge is the 17 UN Sustainable Development Goals, or SDGs for short, which act as global grand challenges. Now, the first one starts with ending poverty everywhere. And so to be able to impact a grand challenge such as ending poverty everywhere sounds extremely lofty and in practice hard to achieve, which is where the mission-based approach comes in. So by their very nature, grand challenges are big, bold, difficult and complex. And they have to be broken down into pragmatic steps, which are termed missions. And ultimately, the mission-based approach is all about action. You start with an innovation activity through experimentation, and there's risky or uncertain outcomes. You don't know where it's going to end, but you start to make change happen very early. And this is why we love the model so much, because we see it every day in the work that we do with our clients. Like, we believe that when you start innovation projects, it sparks things, like the culture and energy of teams change, as do their behaviors. And obviously some things fail, that's the nature of experimentation, but some things become the catalyst for great change. And so to make headway into tackling a grand challenge, you have to kick off small innovation projects without really knowing the destination when you start. And you also need radical collaboration across organizations and sectors to have real impact. So Mission Beyond takes these elements of the Mariana model to have social impact at scale through digital. And our aim is to kick off a number of innovation projects in the service of the grand challenges, and we want to facilitate the forming of cross-sector coalitions to collaborate to have impact at scale. And we're already well underway. We've been working with our advisory board and our partners to find a focus over the next 12 months. And to start with, we're looking at missions that relate to 4 of the UN SDGs, which will serve as our grand challenges. So the 4 SDGs are number 3, good health and well-being for all ages. And our initial focus for a mission within this SDG has been around loneliness and human connection. And we've already kicked off one mission project in share time that I mentioned earlier, and Harry will take us through that later. The next SDG that we are focused on is number 10, reduced inequalities. And this mission is within this SDG is focused on social mobility. And we've already kicked off the mission project for that as well. It's currently underway. And this is actually in partnership with ESMA, the Employers Social Mobility Alliance, and the Positive Transformation Initiative. And we hope to launch that in an event in September, probably at a Positive Transformation Initiative event. In November, we'll be looking at number 9, so industry, innovation and infrastructure. This mission will be focused on the circular economy, and we'll be kicking off experiments to work on ways and in areas in which we can break the traditional linear economy of make, use and dispose, which results in so much waste in the world. And then finally, next February, we hope to launch a mission related to SDG number 11, sustainable cities and communities. And this hasn't been finalised yet because it's some way off, but we think this will focus on urban safety, particularly on how we might make cities safer for women. So we're using these territories as a guide to help us launch mission projects. And Red Badger will bring our digital innovation and product thinking expertise to bear on attacking the missions in the form of digital proof of concepts and innovation experiments. We will then facilitate the formation of coalitions of business leaders and other actors across different organisations to take responsibility for specific missions. And this is where this community comes in. We want leaders from different backgrounds, organisations, sectors, and even borders to work together in the service of the missions. And to make this a success, we will also need actors across many sectors to collaborate, from government to civil society, including charities and academia. And we'll also invite other like-minded digital companies similar to Red Badger into the community, because having the right expertise and an open, collaborative and transparent community will be key to achieving the impact that we need. So once we have that in place, the validated proof of concepts will then be incubated into the coalitions who will be tasked with finding an owner for the proof of concept to help take the proof of concepts into impact at scale and to work together on the mission as a whole. And they might create new missions under the grand challenge that they're working within. So with Red Badger's expertise in rapid digital product innovation and the collective might and diverse thinking of the coalitions, I believe we could really contribute to having social impact at scale.